From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spire on the radio.
Hello to Rachael Sage. How are you today?
Hello. It's a fabulous day. I'm getting to chat with you.
Thank you very much for letting me chat to you today. So can you tell me, how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
Oh, wow. I think I've been doing this since before I could speak, or certainly before I could solve a math problem. It's been a long time. I think I wrote my first song when I was 5 years old, but even before that, I was writing instrumental music on the piano. So it's been a while.
Well, you are multi-talented. So can you tell me more about being a painter?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. For me, creativity is kind of just one big flow, and I try not to put too many boundaries between the different mediums, but I really have been enjoying getting into painting a lot more this past year. And for my recent album, I made a different painting for each song, and all of those were included in the packaging. So it was fun to be able to integrate two things I love so much, and I'm sure I'll be doing more of that.
So can you tell me more about, so I don't know how long your record company started. So I don't know if it started when you first being a songwriter or it was later. So can you tell me more about MPress Records? When did that start?
Absolutely. So, every dream kind of starts with just imagining it being real. And when I was in college at Stanford in California, I started to become aware of a lot of artists, up and coming artists, just putting out their own work and calling it a record label. So it was really kind of learning by doing. And so I started doing the same thing. I would, it was cassettes at the time in the 90s. So I would just put like copyright, and I would start playing with different names. Ladybug Records, Sorceress Records, and by the time I decided on Empress Records, I was pretty sure that I really wanted to commit to it as a company, as an entity. And, in the years that followed, I just tried to learn as much as I possibly could through research and trial and error. And I haven't really looked back since. So now we have a full roster of over half a dozen other artists. And it's just a real labor of love for me.
Wow, that sounds interesting. And to find out more about your record company. So, can you tell me more about your first album that you released back in 1966 called Morbid Romantic?
Not 1966, 1996.
96, yeah, sorry, 96.
But 1996 was sure a great year for music, and my guitar happens to be from 1966. So you're psychic as well.
There we go, psychic, there we go.
But yes, back right after I graduated, I came to New York and I started recording just in little kind of hole-in-the-wall studios in downtown New York and mixing and mingling with musicians I was meeting at legendary folk and rock clubs like the Bitter End and Cafe Chenet, where, people like Jeff Buckley were hanging out. So it was an exciting time. And my first album, Morbid Romantic, is really a reflection of the songs that I was performing in those little downtown clubs. And it was just an amazing learning experience and very exciting for me at that time to go in the studio and just try to capture where I was at in that moment.
Now, we talked about you being a painter. So can you tell me more about Painting of a Painting album?
Sure. Oh, I'm so glad that you asked about that album. And in particular, that title track, that song is one that I still like to perform live. And as it happens, it was produced by a fantastic musician named Denny Fongheiser, who a lot of folks just saw perform on the Grammys with Tracy Chapman. He was her original drummer on the track that she performed, Fast Car. And all of a sudden I saw him on stage and I was like, Denny, that's amazing. So everything is a full circle. And it was just exciting to make that record with someone I respected and admired so much.
So you've been to the Grammys, ain't you? So what was that like?
I have. It was wild. It was a whirlwind. Parts of it were a little overwhelming and felt kind of high pressured because I was actually there representing an artist who was nominated, which was exciting and intense. And then other things were just totally over the top and kind of ridiculous and fun, walking on a red carpet and waving to Katy Perry as she yelled to me that she liked my hair, just very strange things you wouldn't have expected to happen. And, she was sweet as can be. And I was like, I love your hair. And meanwhile, I'm like a folk pop artist and she's like a bazillion selling pop phenomenon. So, it was fun and it also was very unreal. So I think if you can go into it with a sense of humor and kind of take it for what it is, a big celebration of music, but also a lot of hype, you'll have a good time.
So, can you tell me more about ballads and Brazil?
Ballads and burlesque. Yes,
Yeah.
that is hard to say. I have a habit of making titles that can be tongue twisters. Ballads and burlesque was a record that I made on my own. I didn't even tell anybody I was doing it. I was very keen to really exercise my muscles as a producer at that time. And to confide, I had had a not so terrific experience working with another producer, and it left me kind of, just jaded and sort of disenchanted with being produced. So I just wanted to take the reins and create an album that was authentically me, where it was about the stories and the songs and very organic. So I think that was sort of my first, entree into being more of a folk pop artist with that organic sensibility.
So, can you tell me more about Too Many Women single?
Oh, wow. We're really going through some fun archives here. Too Many Women was a song that was basically about a sound person who was ignoring me at a very prestigious rock club in New York. And I will never say who it was because I don't dish like that. But it gave me this idea for a song that I then translated into being more of a romantic context where you're just really trying hard to get someone's attention and you feel invisible and like they're noticing everyone but you in a sea of beautiful, talented people. You're just trying to wave and be noticed. So the wonderful thing about that experience making that song was that later on it was used in the film Fame. And that came out of the blue. It was a wonderful opportunity. And to this day, that movie is seen by millions of people all over the world. And all of a sudden, a scene comes up with a dancer performing to that song, and it's kind of a hoot.
So, coming very soon is Valentine's Day. So, can you tell me more
Yes.
about Blue Roses?
Yes. Well, Blue Rose is absolutely a love song, and it's full of yearning and idealism, and it's definitely a story song about a very real relationship situation that I was in. And I don't like to give away too many personal details, but it is one that I still enjoy performing. And I titled the album Blue Roses after that song because it just felt like such a defining moment in my life where I really came to recognize that just because you love someone doesn't make that a healthy thing. And, consequently, I think my boundaries and my sense of putting myself first was further refined.
So, can you tell me more about the Whistleblower?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's my favorite song from my current album, The Other Side. And I think in a lot of ways, it's sort of a rallying cry for being empowered and not letting anybody walk all over you and not being afraid to speak up if something feels wrong. If you're on the receiving end of behavior in whatever context and whoever you are, that just feels like it crosses a line um, and is violating you in some way. So on the one hand, it's quite a serious track and kind of deep, but in another way, I love playing it live now because it's just kind of like, sassy and don't give me any, you know what.
So, can you tell more about the well, not your latest album called the Other Side?
Yes. Well, this record actually came out last July. I can't believe it's been that long already. So, 7 or 8 months ago. And um, it's been so much fun to tour behind it because every single one of these songs seems to take on a new meaning as time goes by. I was just speaking about Whistleblow, but the song, The Other Side, really is about transcendence and overcoming obstacles that may seem insurmountable and intimidating in the beginning. But as we all learned, during lockdown and beyond, um, we have so many inner resources that we don't even realize until we're really put in situations that challenge us. So while we may have had too much practice rising above challenges in the last few years, as someone who has gone through a cancer experience myself and is now thriving and doing what I love, I think it's a great anthem to continue to play in my set, and hopefully a lot of listeners can relate to it.
Well, after this interview is finished, I'm going to play The Deepest Dark. So, can you tell me more about that track?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for playing that. That's probably my other favorite track on the record. It's one that I actually penned in my teens. I wrote a version of it when I was a teenager, but I didn't quite know what it meant. And as I was putting this record together, The Other Side, about transcendence and overcoming obstacles and kind of meeting people on the other side of something you've all gone through together, yet apart, it just started to feel like a song about friendship and being able to connect with people over great distances. So, it seemed perfect for this era of Zoom and, patience that was so required as we were coming out of such a surreal situation with the pandemic. And in some ways continue to be challenged in that way. So I put it on the record ultimately because it reminded me of the friendships and the TV show Stranger Things, which I just became obsessed with during lockdown. I loved it so much, and I love the portrayals and the characters on that show. So I think it would be a great theme if they do another season.
So, can you tell me more about your up and coming tour that you're coming to the UK very soon?
Oh, yeah. So I'm looking right now at my schedule on my website and starting to get really excited. I think our first show is March 20th, and we'll be in Guildford. And then it just goes on from there: London, Bath, Cambridge, Stourbridge, Leicester, and on for a few weeks. So basically, my March is all about the UK, and we're starting to rehearse for it. And as I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, I will have my companion album of acoustic rearrangements called Another Side, only exclusively at those live shows. So you won't be able to get it out in the world until May, I think. So I'm excited to bring that over too.
So, finally, can you tell me how's being an independent artist for you, that the world that we live in?
How is being an independent artist? Well, I think I've only ever been an independent artist. So it's sort of all I know. Although now MPress Records does collaborate with Universal Distribution, and I guess arguably they are major distribution, but we're still very much an independent label. We do things our way. We own our own mistakes and take risks that maybe we wouldn't be allowed to otherwise. So for me, it's been a real journey of all the dynamics. There have been disappointments, there have been moments to celebrate that were unexpected, surprises, challenges. It's just a constant learning process. And I think looking back, as I'm able to now, on over 2 decades of releasing 15 albums and maybe 20, 30 releases in total, I feel like it's a good time to exhale and appreciate that it's been a wild, incredible ride. Ups and downs and all around. But I wake up every morning feeling a sense of purpose and being so honored and grateful to work with such an incredible team of other women at MPress Records who help me not only keep the lights on, but keep us putting out, hopefully music that continues to inspire.
So finally, can you tell my listeners, where can I find you on your social media?
I'm pretty easy to find. It's my name, Rachael, Rachael, Sage. And I'm on Instagram, where there's a little underscore between those two words, Rachael_Sage. And I'm on Twitter, which of course we now call X with mixed feelings. Facebook, I'm very active on, but my favorite platform is actually Instagram. I'm on there every day. I love posting photos and paintings and adventures from my tours. So hope to see everybody there.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Rachel.
Bye.